Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football late Monday night. The Miami Hurricanes commitment sweatshirt comes back on into the Miami fans who've been rocking with the boys way back to the summer months. Y'all know how I feel about this one. This one fires me up. Four-star edge rusher DeAnthony Lafayette committing to Miami. I think this kid is an absolute stud. And I was really frustrated because it never seemed like Miami pushed all that hard for him going back to the summer. He ends up committing to LSU. The LSU fans already know how much I love this cat. Now, when Brian Kelly got fired, I think a lot of Miami fans who've also watched this kid play we're hoping Miami goes after him. That's exactly what we saw take place over the last 2 weeks. Miami pushes really hard. They get this one done. Now, two things that stand out. Number one, I think this kid is a tremendous football player. Number two, like Miami needed some of these cats at this position in 2026. The only other edge rusher they have is Ashari Charles. So it's a massive slot that's filled in the 2026 class as well. Now, you get into DeAnthony Lafayette. Now, let's start with the cons because there's one con with this kid's game. He's 6'1". And look, I get it that is really, really short for an edge rusher that's going to try to make it work at the power four level. Totally understand that. It feels very, very similar to the conversation we had with Ruben Bain a couple of years ago. Now, Ruben Bain was a little bit bigger, but the same conversation presided was that, hey, the traits aren't great with Ruben Bain. He's a really good football player, really productive, really dominant at the high school ranks, but how good are the traits? How high is the upside? Oh, it turns out Ruben Bain working out pretty damn good for Miami. Now, am I saying that the Anthony Lafayette is going to be a Ruben Bain caliber player? That would be irresponsible for me to say. Go bet on good football players. There is a time and a place to bet on traits. And in fact, Miami did that last night with J.J. Dunnigan. You also want to bet on good football players. And to me, DeAnthony Lafayette, and he's that guy playing 7A football, extremely productive over the last 2 years. Go back to his junior year, 17 and a half sacks. Halfway through his senior year, 11 and a half sacks, 20 tackles for loss. This kid dominates at the high school ranks. He's an extremely twitchy football player. Hey, in terms of that first step, nobody's really better in this class than DeAnthony Lafayette. Now, another thing that's worth noting here is everybody wants to make a big deal about him being 6'1". And yeah, that's short. Ain't no question about it. He has, what I've heard, 33-inch arms, like really, really long arms. And so the height concerns get a little bit mitigated because he has the length to keep tackles off him a little bit. I look at DeAnthony Lafayette and say that's almost an asset now. He has plenty fine length, but being 6'1", hey, can play with a little bit better leverage. Maybe hold up at the point of attack a little bit more. The thing I love most about DeAnthony Lafayette outside of the twitch and outside of the production, this kid's motor. And that's important. One of the things that I love about Ruben Bain, and again, I want to be clear, I'm not necessarily comping DeAnthony Lafayette to Ruben Bain, but something I loved about Ruben Bain, always have, how hard that kid plays. It's hard to find the best players on the field also playing the hardest. Ruben Bain's always been that guy. Turn on this kid's film. I mean, the motor is off the charts with DeAnthony Lafayette. And if there's one thing we've learned about Corey Heatherman, he values guys that play hard, that swarm to the football. I think DeAnthony Lafayette's that guy. Here's the last thing I'll note, and then we'll get into some other conversations. The young edge rushers that Miami is stockpiling, off the charts, man. We said it the other day. I can already tell the national media is going to start this narrative about Miami's defense in the offseason. Can they replace Ruben Bain? Can they replace Akeem Mesidor? And look, I get that'll be a conversation, right? Those are two of the best edge rushers that we see in the country. Like, I'm looking at the stockpile of weapons that Miami has recruited at that position. Marquise Lightfoot's going to be a dog in year 3, man. Armando Blunt, I think, is going to be a dog in year 3. You have a guy like Booker Pickett who's still developing. Herbert Scroggins going to be a really good football player in year 2. Hayden Lowe is going to be coming back from the injury. You inject a guy like DeAnthony Lafayette. If there's one thing that we've learned when you have elite edge rushers. I'm talking about Ruben Bain. I'm talking about Akeem Mesdor. It fundamentally changes your defense, man. Miami's trying to replace that. They're trying to stockpile as many guys as they can in this room. And I'll say this, go get them at the high school ranks, because you ain't going to find players like Ruben Bain very often in the portal. If you want difference-making edge rushers, recruit them at the high school ranks, because they're hard to find in the portal. Very, very excited. Before we get into the rest of the episode, I do want to say thank you. The Miami fans, look, if you are spending or taking some time out of your Monday nights to listen to the boys break down a commitment, can't thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. Now, I do, and we don't do this a ton, but I do think it's worth pulling it up a little bit. This kid is so fun to watch. And again, the thing that stands out to me is, one, the first step is absolutely elite. And then you start to see the bend. I mean, look at the ability to win around the corner and then fight through a double team and just be an apex predator when you're hunting the quarterback. It is so special when it comes to DeAnthony Lafayette. And you continue to roll the film and you continue to say, hey, these tackles are going to have the quicks just winning inside. This guy doesn't even get a hand on him. And again, we're hunting the quarterback. I love, by the way, edge rushers who are athletes, who can go hunt. Because what are we seeing in the sport nowadays? We're seeing a lot of quarterbacks that are good athletes, that can get outside the pocket, that can get themselves out of trouble. We need edge defenders who can run, chase, and tackle. DeAnthony Lafayette can be that guy. Wins with a variety of different moves. And again, bend, winning on the outside shoulder, then going out and hunting, playing really, really hard. He is a guy that I have a absolute blast watching. Going to be my favorite player for Miami over the next couple of years, because I don't feel bad for him because he's going to Miami. I think criminally undervalued because he's a little bit short. Really excited to see what this kid becomes and what he looks like. Miami's filling it up, man. And we've talked about this the last couple of weeks. And I think what it comes down to is, even with Miami taking a few frustrating losses, this program is still really starting to sell itself. And what I mean by that is, there are so many programs that are in flux. They either have coaches who've been fired, like Florida and LSU and like Auburn, or a lot of programs like Mike Norvell, where their coaches are on the hot seat. And there's a lot of coaches that they're not sure if their coaches are going to be there. They might take jobs elsewhere. I mean, Miami is developing NFL talent, showing that they can compete at the national level. Whether Miami makes the college football playoffs or not, that is to be determined. But you make no mistake about it, this is a team that can compete with anybody in the country. And they're doing it with a lot of young talent. This is a very attractive program right now. I think Mario Cristobal knows that, and he's going to capitalize on the recruiting trail when a lot of these programs are kind of in turmoil. I don't think this will be the last commitment that we break down over the next couple of weeks. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.